You took your playing drums, applied it to that thing, turned it into something legitimate, and then that furthered your career in a whole bunch of ways nobody could have predicted. Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for tuning in again. Today I got to interview Dan, which was a great pleasure, and it was extremely challenging for me, if I'm being honest. It was my first time being the interviewer rather than the interviewee. And the skills that a great interviewer has are not currently in my possession, but I gave it my best shot. And I know over time that those skills are going to sharpen, and that's just going to make this podcast a better and better thing. In fact, we talk a little bit about that later on. We also talk about his childhood, upbringing, his time in school, his time at PASIC, his current profession, and rock band, of all things. So, stay tuned. It's not mine. So, you were mentioning that you didn't have a beer or any kind of drink last night when you played a show. And
right.
You said you usually have like one or two.
Mm-hmm.
What is your protocol for that? I'm just curious, because like for me,
I just like to loosen up.
Yeah.
Like as a person, I can be a little bit more rigid. You know, just like, I don't know. It's not a bad thing, but
interesting.
But
well,
like,
you don't come off as rigid.
Really?
Yeah, I've never thought of you that
I'm very
way.
like type A. I mean, even like with this podcast, things have to be very aligned and like.
Interesting.
That's partly like my job. I have to be organized.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm playing a gig, I like to be. You can't be that way playing drums. You can't be
Right.
rigid. So
That's true.
beer is one way to kind of loosen.
You're like
that.
a breadstick.
What?
What? You ever watch The Mighty Boosh?
No, I don't watch anything that
Man, there's so many
assume
things.
I haven't watched it.
I feel. See, this is. I
Just
feel
make a
like
list.
when I'm making the list
That
right
actually
now.
happened with my old jobs.
Mighty
We can talk about, but
Boosh.
they literally did the same thing. All my coworkers kept asking me, like, and then eventually they were like, they made a list. They made a spreadsheet. It was a shared spreadsheet of things that Dan needs to watch. It's like I'm so embarrassed.
Well, you know.
Then I quit 2 months later. So
Well, then, and you showed them. No, I'm never watching this crap, you losers. Well, we're gonna watch
that's fine.
one episode of The Mighty Boosh together.
The Mighty Boosh?
That centers around a character called Old Greg. And
Okay.
you are suddenly going to realize that like 50 people in your lifetime have quoted it at you and you didn't realize it. But anyway.
Is it still on or
It's not. It's not.
not.
It is not still on. But it was a good time when it was. You know, you guys probably don't know, but the two of us have been trying to get together and do this second interview for a couple of weeks. I mean, but literally since the last one, we just haven't had the time. Either he's working or I'm out of town on a gig or whatever. But anyway, I wanted to talk about that, the whole rigidity thing, the whole playing drums thing. You brought up your job, and I actually wanted to go there. So first of all, what is it? Tell us what you do at Pearl.
Yeah. So my official title, I'm marketing assistant for the band orchestra division.
Mm-hmm.
So I help bring those products to market and engage with audiences, do social media, I help a lot with like our artists and like our educators that work in high schools and colleges and run the percussion programs. Or just help take care of all those needs. And I love that part of the job. I love like the artist relation. And
You're interacting with them a lot.
yeah, it makes it feel very, very real, you know. So I get kind of both. So like I'll interact with Instagram account, you know, posting content every single day that's hopefully valuable and entertaining. And that's great. I love that. And like every morning we highlight anybody that has like a milestone or a birthday or anything. We're very, very personable about those things.
Milestone like has worked here for X amount of years, or or are there other kind of milestones you would celebrate there? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I think that's mainly it. And then the opposite of that, like if there's any sort of death or loss, not even just internally, but we have like if our artists will send out handwritten cards, we'll send out like different T-shirts. We're very much built on relationships.
You heard it here, folks. Pearl is not only the biggest drum company in the world, they're also incredibly wholesome. And you know what? That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I would probably guess that actually has a lot to do with their success. Because
yes.
I think that if you treat people like that, like they're a human being and not just a business opportunity, then you have your interactions with them are going to be better.
Yeah, that's like the core principles of good business, you know, and good relationships. Well, so Pearl just celebrated 75 years as a company.
Oh, wow.
Which is, so you might have seen, we released all these vintage limited edition drum sets and all these awesome new products in honor of that anniversary. So, quick story with Pearl. So, it's still a family-owned company, and it was started, Yanagisawa family, in 1946. He was making music stands after World War II, and eventually turned into hardware, drums, and Pearl flutes, and everything that it is today.
Wow.
But it's still family owned, and I think a big, I've told this story before, because there was a point during the pandemic where, because I'm one of the newest employees, and I wasn't entirely confident in my stability, if I was going to get let go or pay cut. But we've been super fortunate. We haven't, as far as I know, we haven't had to do that for anybody. No pay cuts, no furloughs.
That's incredible.
No one let go. And I'm talking about during the thick of the pandemic.
Yeah, everything.
And not only that, so here's what's incredible. So during this very turbulent time when we were even working at home, there was this project going on we have a break room, which is in our warehouse. Typical break room is, fridge and just a few tables. That's where I would normally go eat lunch, and just if you want to break, watch some TV, whatever. And they ripped out the floors. They got brand new appliances, and it looks so nice now. A big 80-inch TV. But they were doing this then, and I always was like, this seems not a priority.
Mm-hmm.
But again, they invest in their people, quite literally. They invested in the place where their people eat lunch and where they commingle and get their mind off of whatever job they have. Because our warehouse, as I said, it's physically in Nashville. Right. We have another warehouse in Chambersburg on the East Coast, and we have a ton of warehouse staff, and so it's a big space. And so I think that was just a really cool thing that they did. And looking in the moment, I was like, this is kind of weird.
Yeah.
But then now, this is actually a really nice space, and it means something.
I love that, man. That makes me so happy.
Yeah, who would have thought?
Honestly, that's not how I pictured working for Pearl.
Yeah,
that just doesn't sound like the thing. I think of Pearl and I think of giant conglomerate, the
big corporation.
Giant, just like a big drum monstrosity. If you go to Anaheim NAMM, the booth there is enormous. It's awesome. It's always the biggest and coolest booth down there. This company is. If you've ever purchased a booth at NAMM, you know how expensive that just even the smallest space is, and they're expending a lot of money to do this extravagant show every single year. So they're massive, and to hear that they treat their people that well. And you came here from. I'm kind of going back in time as we're doing this. We're going to Benjamin Button you. We're going to go from where you are now.
That doesn't sound like a good thing.
Yeah, well,
please don't.
Was it? I never saw the movie. Does it have a happy ending? I don't know.
I didn't see it, of course.
So I should. You're the last person I should ask. Hey, how did that movie end? I don't know, dude. I don't watch movies. Come on. Oh man. Okay. Anyway, so you came from Indiana. What were you doing when you were there?
Moved to Indiana for an internship, actually. It was kind of like a once-in-a-lifetime dream internship and a really cool opportunity with the Percussive Arts Society. For those unfamiliar, it's a nonprofit percussion organization. They put on PASIC. It's a big international convention every year in Indiana. So it's
the coolest.
Yeah, you've been, right?
I actually haven't been.
Oh, you haven't?
I've seen
Okay.
plenty of footage that lets me know that it is the coolest.
Drum set clinics, but it's everything. It's a big gathering. It's like a family reunion. So I graduated college, and I was looking for my program, music business. I needed internship credit, and I think I already met those requirements. But so I was at this weird stage where I needed a real job, And so growing up in Albany and then going to school at SUNY Oneonta, I had a ton of connections and alumni from that school that would end up in New York City doing the typical like move to the city and do music business or do something within music in New York. That was like kind of my set path that I was like supposed to do and I was trying to do. So I was, applying for all these different positions, and I had an interview at ASCAP, the Performing Rights Organization.
Yes.
What is it? American Society of Composers, Authors, and Publishers.
I have not known until this moment what it stood for. I just thought it was a funny sounding name, and I knew what they did.
So we have ASCAP and CSAC is another one. They're here in Nashville, but they have offices in all the major cities. So anyway, I landed an interview, like an in-person interview. People still do those now, right? Mm-hmm. And like one of my other friends from college worked there, so I had a connection. So I was feeling really good about it. And I remember like I took the train down from Albany to New York. We didn't really go to the city often, just growing up, just me and my family. So it was kind of like a treat, like, oh, I'm going into the city. I remember I wore a like an actual suit, which I never wore. I had my class ring on. I was like all dressed up. I was trying to play the part of like this New York City business musician person.
Yeah.
Drummer. I don't know. It was weird. But, I had a pretty good interview. On the world.
Yeah.
And the interview went fine. I just, it was a waiting game. I hadn't heard back. And at that time, my professors were suggesting I apply for this internship. Because we had, as a percussion studio, we went to PASIC for the very first time. That was my first ever experience going, my first time in Indiana. What was that? That was my junior year, I want to say. So that was like my first run-in into what all that was. And I kind of knew I wanted to be in the industry. What better dream as a player to be involved somehow as my career. So like going to PASIC was the catalyst event for me. It was like, oh, this could be real. It's not just a textbook anymore. It's not just in the classroom. So I had applied for this internship, and basically they take one, they have candidates apply from all over the country, but they take one person, one intern. So I was like, well, I'm probably not going to get it. Like I'm in a small school. I got it.
That's amazing.
And I remember telling my friends and my family, like, hey guys, just so you know, if I get this internship, I'm going to Indiana. I can't say no. Like it's just going to be like so cool. It's going to be my thing. Cause I'd always sort of read or just heard stories of people that moved away or did something different, or I guess I've always tried to like do something different and not just what's expected. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Like I have tons of friends that are doing the thing in New York City and they're killing it. And I was in a unique position. And I remember like kept emailing, calling ASCAP in New York, just, hey, like just checking in, trying to be formal and cordial about it. And I just didn't hear anything. And it was a pretty rigorous interview process for the internship. It was like the essays but it was a few phone calls, and but they all went really well. And then, like they didn't even ask me. They were like, we chose you. Like, you got it. Which is kind of funny because I knew I was going to do it anyway. So.
Wow. And what would you do with them?
I was working at the museum. I was literally giving percussion tours to kids in the, like, underserved kids in the area.
That's sick.
That's sick, yeah.
It is.
That's awesome. I mean, the museum is unbelievable. If you ever get a chance to go to Indiana, you got to stop in. They have a ton of vintage percussion, different exhibits that change out every year.
Are you in these tours? Are you allowed to play the instruments, or is it just okay?
Yeah, it's an interactive drum museum.
Because I would say I couldn't think of something less satisfying than to walk through a place with these beautiful vintage instruments and be like, don't touch them.
Yeah, well, okay, you're not really playing the vintage. We have instruments donated from companies like Pearl and like just that are for that reason. But imagine like 40.
Probably other companies too, but definitely notably Pearl.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I was doing that. That was like one part of the internship, but then I was helping coordinate the convention. I mean, and that takes like a whole year to plan. It's really involved, a lot of logistics.
Wow, man, that's such a cool story. You had a very unique experience. So very few people have had that prestigious thing occur in their life. That's amazing, dude.
Yeah, thank you.
I wanted to ask you about something you said there. You said I kind of tried to go. I don't remember exactly how you phrased it, but I didn't want to do just the New York thing. Like I kind of was like, well, some people are doing that and that's great and they're killing it, but I wanted to do something else. Is that a way that you've kind of a philosophy that you've applied throughout your life?
I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that alone kind of sounds cliche. I just want to be different, or like.
But there's, there's nothing wrong with that. There's
actually
wisdom in
executing that. But yeah, and probably a lot of that was just my time in college. I mean, I was in a percussion ensemble. I had such incredible teachers, Blake Fleming on drum set, and Julie Licato was my percussion, marimba, and like everything else, percussion ensemble. I was in a Zappa band. So like I was always surrounded by these people that themselves were very unique and creative and different. So it made sense that I wanted to also pursue, that kind of vision for myself.
Yeah, you became the average. That's actually a really interesting idea. Become the average of because that's the saying, right? You become the average of the 5 people you're around the most. Well, the 5 people I was around the most all wanted to be completely different from everyone else. So I became the average of the people who wanted to be totally different from everyone. How does that even work?
Yeah.
That actually kind of hurts my brain. All I know is I wanted to do something different. That's awesome.
Yeah.
After I took a break to use the bathroom really quick, we came up with a really great idea, and that's social media and medicine combined. So you get your, how Venmo is kind of intrusive with, you send somebody $20 for whatever, blah, 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 for buying dinner. And then it's essentially still a social media because everyone can see that you sent that. Well, why not have that with medicine? I got this prescription and I had this illness. Everyone's really nosy, so it would be super popular. Everyone would download it.
Yeah. New test result, tweet now.
Yeah. I got my hepatitis medicine.
With any, privacy laws. Probably not.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it would be totally.
It probably would.
Yeah, it would be. I'm sure very.
I just saw some bit, probably TikTok, somebody complaining about Venmo, and it's like they accidentally liked someone's like utility bill payment from like 2 years ago, and you can't unlike it. So then she liked it twice.
If you do that, it's like you're creeping big time. Man.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's like all my shit is private. Like, why would I want that public?
Lord only knows why.
So the person was like, thanks. Whoever approved this at Venmo, thank you. I just liked my old roommate's utility payment from 2 years ago twice.
Seriously, like who thought of that? Who thought this is an awesome idea?
I'll tell you who. All the social media platforms, they just copy from one another. Twitter they tried fleets. I don't know. People probably even know. It was so short-lived. But it was like their version of stories called fleets.
I did not know that.
Kind of a cool name, but
what does that have to do with, though? Like, where does that come from? Twitter's like the bird. Fleet? What is that?
I'm not sure.
That's like, you would think that would be a more massive...
Have to ask Jack on that one.
That's like, 800 characters or something. I don't know. Well, back to drumming things.
Pulling it back. Where were we?
Sorry, reeling back in. Okay, so I wanted to ask you about, obviously, this is one of the things I always want to know about people who play the instrument. What was the thing that first drew you to the drums, and how old were you? Tell the whole origin story of Dan the drummer man.
Dan, is that my nickname?
Yeah. Anybody who's got the name Dan that goes by Dan and not Daniel is going to be Dan the something man.
Okay.
Originally it was Dan the butcher man at my local deli.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So,
your local deli.
Yep.
Man, let's see. Well, I mean, I've been playing since I was like one of those stories. Like I came out of the womb tapping, doing paradiddles,
Dude, dope.
I just always knew. I don't know what it was. I mean, some people are actually born with like some sense of rhythm, like I think that was me. So when it came to school, it wasn't even a question. Like I picked percussion, and I always saw my older friends that had done it. And
we're talking what age are you starting to take these classes?
Well, I picked, you pick your first instrument like elementary school.
Okay. because they handed me a recorder. There was
Yeah,
there was no.
we all did that, right? Yeah.
There was no picking in it. It was like, you learn this stupid thing. So you picked it early, man. Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah, so like at Pearl, we make the percussion ed kits. You ever see those? Like it's like a small practice pad and like a bell kit. It's all like in this cool little compartmentalized mobile thing. So like we had those at the school. I mean, luckily my parents like were always super supportive. So like pretty early on, I'm trying to remember my first drum lesson. Like, you had a cool story about your first lesson, which is pretty impactful. I don't know if I had it wasn't like I had a first lesson, but my early teachers, so I did all this stuff through school, like the public school system, which is great. Oh, so much to all those amazing teachers, like that's what gave me like, obviously every day that kind of, those skill sets and development and how to think creatively and how to learn the actual instrument. But eventually I started to do outside lessons and private stuff like that. So I was involved in this group called the Empire State Youth Orchestra. Ooh. It was super, it was kind of a very prestigious thing in the Empire, in Albany, that was what it was called, Empire State. And that was like a very big deal, and all the top kids in New York, and I think a few kids that live in nearby states, but
kids.
Yeah, the top, you had to be pretty good at your instrument.
Who are we talking top kids? Sorry, anybody who knows what I'm talking about, you get 10 points.
Of course I don't. It's probably some show I haven't watched.
It's Indiana Jones.
Yes.
Yeah,
I've seen it.
Okay, all right, there we go.
So yeah, I auditioned for that and got in, and there's different level groups. So I started at the most basic percussion ensemble and kind of worked my way up, and eventually I started taking private lessons with the instructors in those groups.
Yeah.
So I had Richard Bagley, John Antonio, and Mark Foster. This was another level. This was okay, this could be a serious career.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to, come private lessons, maybe it was once a week at their house, in their basement. They had a whole percussion setup.
Right. And so you're doing, this is beyond drum set playing at this point.
Oh, yeah.
So what,
yeah.
So what instruments are you learning at this point?
Yeah. I mean, this was everything. I mean, marimba.
Yeah. Bro, everyone can play the freaking marimba but me. I can't do a damn thing.
I don't think so. Most people don't even know what a marimba is. Or you mean
you're a serious
drummer.
Percussionist, man. I'm like a wannabe, because every time I see that, I'm like, oh, it'd be so cool to learn that.
I miss it. I mean, I'm not playing marimba now. But yeah, so marimba was a big part of it. I would do lessons with John Antonio, and he had this incredible setup. Marimba, xylophone, timpani, snare drum. It was like a percussion dream.
Yeah.
It was like being a kid in a candy store. So I always wanted to just go and to this day, we're still good friends with John and those guys, and they'll talk football. They're big New York Giants, Yankees fans. So it's cool. We keep in touch.
That's awesome.
And, but yeah, so that was, I was doing percussion pretty seriously. It was, because people that graduated from the Empire State program, those guys have gone on to do Berkeley, and they're in major orchestras all over the world. So that was where I was sort of going, but I'd say early on, even in that, I knew that's not going to be me.
Yeah.
I love performing, I love learning, but I knew there was more to me than just playing full time.
Right.
And I had this other creative side to me, which is very much rooted in, I'm not going to say marketing yet, because I didn't really know what that was at the time. But it was more creative media. I did a lot of YouTube videos, and I did drum covers and videos, and I was starting to do social media, and I liked the idea of having a job doing some of that as well, and not just being in an orchestra or whatever that could be. So it was cool early on. I could have that a step back from myself and be pretty clear about that.
Wow, dude.
But if I had a second life, I would have wanted to go all the way in with it and do that track and see where I would have ended up, but
wouldn't that be interesting to be able to do? Just even just a 30-second.
What would your
what would my life look like at this point?
You said you'd be a martial arts guy, or would you be
probably. Yeah, that's probably what I'd be doing, and I'd be loving it. I would love that life, but I love the one I'm into.
Yeah. See, I mean, I love my path, so it's not like I'm.
Yeah,
unhappy.
This isn't regret that we're talking about.
It's not regret.
But this is just
if anything, it's I'm very thankful that I was able to have those choices. What a thought. You could either
pick a career in the music industry or like go play percussion full time. Like
Right.
most people don't have that choice.
Yeah, you could have done 100 different things actually, or I mean, really, you could have done all the things, and you've got enough of a brain, enough of a good head on your shoulders that you could have. I mean, your options in life are pretty well unlimited. But
well, thank you.
There's a reason that you have this room, and in the center of this room, I mean, while there's a podcast being
fake plant
recorded, there's a luscious fake plant that I want to water every time I see it.
You should see what happens.
I should find out. Well, if you water it enough,
I'll just
something
go back
will
and buy
grow.
a bigger one so it looks like it's getting bigger. I'll trick you.
That would actually be a tremendous trick. And then eventually buy a real plant that looks exactly like and you're like, no, dude, like we've talked about this. This has always been a real plant.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I've been watering it as a joke. You've been watering it as a joke? You're a psychopath. Oh man, that's a movie right there. That's
you feed your cat as a joke too? What's wrong with you? He needs to eat.
But what I was saying is there's a reason why there's a room here that you rent. For anyone who rents here, it's no small fee, and there's a drum set in dead center. This is a huge part of your life, still to this day. You're still working for Pearl, but you've got this. Like, this is not vital to your job, but it's vital to your life. So let's talk specifically about drums now, okay? Because we've gone into life story. I want to ask you about things like your favorite players. Actually, let's go there right now. Who are the guys that you have watched play over the years that have been like, yeah, this has drawn me into the instrument,
Yeah. That's a good question. Well, just quick to go back to one of my early other, because this relates, I promise. Eventually, I got connected with this guy, Joey Pucci, and he was one of the drummers for like the Trans-Siberian Orchestra.
Whoa.
That's what he told me. I never saw him, but I believed him. And then this was just Drumset. This was like, I remember it was me and like a good friend on my street, actually. We did lessons kind of together. Our dads would come.
Did he say, hey, I'm Joey Pucci.
Yeah,
I'm one of the drummers for the Trans-Siberian Orchestra.
Just as you would imagine him, like,
wow,
the coolest dude, Italian, had
I guessed it right.
Massive,
I love it.
like incredible drum set up in his basement. So that was back in Albany, and so it was cool. I had the percussion side of things, and I had this Joey rock star guy, and we would literally do lessons of doing drum covers. Like, we would learn rock songs, and we had like a method book, but it was like total fun.
What's your first cover you remember doing?
You could go to YouTube. It's on there.
Yeah. You
could go. I have videos from like 2007, 2009 maybe. One of the first ones I remember doing was I think it was "Wake Me Up When September Ends," Green Day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Would you say that's it's probably not the first song you learned. What's the first song you learned or at least
I don't remember.
Part?
I don't know, man. I played so many.
Would you say that "Wake Me Up When September Ends" is the first one you remember learning though?
At least right now in this conversation. Yeah, maybe next week I'll think of another one, but
I
like an earlier one.
Because for me it was "The Beat Goes On."
Yep.
Down, 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 down. I'll never forget that. I still have to this day a cassette tape with the recording of that song that my teacher made for me to.
That's
to play
amazing.
along to.
Cassette. Wow.
I know. I don't have a cassette player. I don't know that anybody does now. Anyway.
Sad.
It is. It's just tragic.
I was also doing Rock Band. It's funny. The video game, right?
Yeah.
Guitar Hero Rock Band. That's like actually a very big part of who I am, which sounds crazy, but there's so many reasons why I could get into that.
Please, go on.
The creative video, digital media side to that video game, and that was kind of the other part to me, like, that I was attracted to.
Yeah.
I got really good at the game. This was now I'm in high school, and I was a complete band nerd. My best friend, still to this day, Caleb, he had the game before I did, and I would go over to his house. We would do these sleepovers and hang out and stay up till 2 a.m. playing the set list of these video games. And I just fell in love with it.
Caleb with a C?
With a K.
Okay, because they can hear it if I say it and I'm thinking it wrong. So I don't want to do that. All right.
Doesn't matter. So
it's all important.
Yes.
in the
So
dance game.
I got really good at the games, and I mean like really nerdy. Like I had PlayStation 2, and then eventually then PS4, where I could become like on the leaderboards, and it became not just like my own thing. It was like I'm in this community, right? And then I started making YouTube videos. That's what started my YouTube channel, and my whole love for video production came from Rock Band.
No joke.
I have millions of views from those because that game used to be very big.
Yeah.
Now it's not, of course. I would like research because you could get like the optimal scores. So for example, if you played, Danny California, Red Hot Chili Peppers from Rock Band, you play every single note and you don't miss, you get 100% score, right?
Right.
But someone else could play the same song and get a higher score. Like it got really granular and really nerdy because like depending on where you did like the fills and like the cymbal hits, if you remember like the star power activation.
Because the fills were up for improvisation, right? And it's just like you could like jam notes in there, right? Is that correct?
Yes, but there was like a trick. You could actually, if you ended the fill early, you would hit the note that would have been there and get points for that note. But like because it's in the fill, it's like you get more points for it. It was like 2 times or 3 times multiplier, any of those notes. So yeah, I had a whole like spreadsheet of like how to get.
I love this. This is great,
dude. It's crazy. So I learned all these songs. To this day, I haven't looked in a while, but like I was ranked number 1. I think I'm like number 1 in the world. Rock Band drums. I think number 2 on like PlayStation drums. Don't quote me on that, but I'm like top 1 or 2 just because of that. But like also. Obviously, you have to be talented to be able to hit the notes. That's the first part. Learn the songs. Like, can you play all the parts? But then it's like, okay, next, how can I get the highest score? It's like another level,
I love that.
Yeah, because I was very competitive and I was good at it. So why not be the best and why not go like?
First of all, I had no idea that this world even existed.
Yeah,
I was aware of the game. I didn't even know that there was like an online version where you could compete against more than just the game itself.
Yeah.
That you're like blowing my mind right now.
It's so funny. We had sponsorships. I had sponsors sending me like what are they say? It was all it was crap. It was like, glow in the dark drumsticks or it was just kind of random companies that I'd have to put them in my YouTube videos. But I was getting every video and I would upload almost every day like a new track and it'd be like thousands of views, hundreds of comments.
What?
It's crazy. That was what I did.
I had no idea about any of this. I feel like I'm in the presence of greatness, and I didn't know just exactly how great. Holy moly!
So my point, though, that was huge for a lot of reasons.
So it evolved into, and I think this is where my love of not just drumming, but my other passion for like creative arts and video production and eventually marketing, it really stemmed from these video games. Because what we would do is, so I mentioned the YouTube channel. So I would record myself playing, like I'd have a camera to see me playing the song, right?
Yeah.
But then we'd record the gameplay itself. So it was super high quality audio. Mm-hmm. And then I taught myself how to edit those videos together and create just a really enjoyable video. And I synced it up, right? So you'd be able to see me playing the song and you'd hear it very high quality. But it wasn't always that way. Like when I first did it, it was just a camera, a really low quality camera.
Yeah.
And then I learned. So I enjoyed the production part of that.
Yeah.
As well.
And then also, of course, I did actual drum videos. So I was doing Rock Band, kind of learning how to do videos, the video game thing. And then I was applying that to real drumming. Well, you have to be in time, literally.
You're learning, and you're learning songs.
Yeah.
That's literally what
learning
you're doing.
All the parts, and you're seeing how each songs are a little bit different, and like the verses are all kind of doing this, and then so you learn all that because it was literally programmed. You didn't have a choice. It was almost like my own education that I was just doing for fun.
Oh my gosh, dude!
Yeah, it was huge.
That's wild.
So then when I went to school, I took that with me. Like I was doing, but of course in a much more professional, like applicable way. I was doing so I did a music business major, and then I did percussion and audio production as minors, and so I was very lucky we had access to recording studios at Oneonta. So I went from my basement videos to now, okay, I'm in an actual recording studio. I'm going to get really good audio. I'm going to hire the video club on campus. They're going to do my videos. But like because I had done those skills myself, I could always speak those languages. I could approach the videographer and be like, this is what I want. I could approach I was learning audio production at that time. So
That's going to save you time and money.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I'm doing that here in Nashville. I'm hiring videographers to help me out. I'm hiring photographers.
I really do. I want to just say again, I really do love that was such a big and formative thing. Especially, and I'm just going to be honest, because when Rock Band was at its height, people were like, well, what, you should play. You'd be really good. I'm like, or I could just play my drums,
right,
which is more satisfying for me. But you took your playing drums, applied it to that thing, turned it into something legitimate, and then that furthered your career in a whole bunch of ways nobody could have predicted.
Yeah, that's perfectly said. That's how it happened. Yeah.
So I mean, it's
I ended up
stacking.
When I mentioned doing like the internship requirement, so one of those internships that I did was a recording studio in Albany, and I remember in the interview we talked about my YouTube channel and how I created these videos, and it was from the video games, but he didn't care about the game. It was those skills and this go-getter mentality.
Yeah.
And not that alone got me the internship, but that was a huge topic of conversation. Like this,
right.
I'm familiar with audio and video, and this is what I've done, and like you said, applied it in a creative way, and that can go so far,
There you have it, folks. Creativity and go-getterness goes a long way. I think a lot of people don't understand that you don't have to learn these other skills entirely, but having just a touch of that knowledge. If you're a professional musician, not even just a drummer, you need to know at least just the tiniest bit about the recording process. You need to know a little bit about all the instruments and how they work. It'll just help you speak the language. Having your fingers in a variety of different pies is gonna save you a lot of time, money, and heartache. So anyway, go on.
Yeah, no, like so much more. I mean, I don't think it definitely never used to be that way though. In the past, if you wanted to be in the symphony, you didn't need to have a website or like know how to, like you just needed to be like incredible at your craft and you'll get the gig, right? But I feel like these days, of course, you have to be your own marketeer. Like you have to kind of treat yourself, and that's sort of what I've been doing, is like treating myself sort of as a brand, as a business, and marketing myself in that way. And so, yeah, but you're right. I agree, like 100%. All those different skills and those trades, like I think it works with musicians because, and there's a reason why so many musicians are good at those things, because it's a very similar, using the same part of the brain. Like if you're a good drummer, then you could probably pick up videography. Like
that's true.
You know what I mean? It's not a big stretch.
I wanted to touch on that a little bit. I remember being younger and thinking, well, if I just get good enough at the one thing, at just the drums, then that'll make my way, right? Then I'll have a career. And there's maybe, I remember my dad saying, he's like, well, that's not how it works. Even at that time, he's like, no, it's just not how it works.
Yeah.
It's like you've got to do that and then meet the right people and do all these other things. They all have to come together, because he's like, there could be a drummer that's so much better than anybody you've ever heard that you'll never hear, because all they do is practice 10 hours a day in their garage, but they're incredible. But again, they don't go outside. Maybe they're a hermit.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's the same thing. Build up a little bit of skill in videography. Understand how putting a good video together happens. Understand how to market yourself, or how to even just network or talk to other humans, or you know what? Go join Toastmasters or something. Learn how to talk to people.
I did that when I was in Indiana.
You did?
Wow, I really want to do it again.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Okay. If you do that here, I want to do that with you.
Really? Have you ever done it, or you just know of it?
I never have, and I'm
awesome.
terrified of public speaking.
Same, and that was
I'm like literally, as I'm saying, I'm preaching to myself.
Yeah.
So
they have it in every state, every county. Like,
bro, if real, if you do that, let's 100%.
And you meet the coolest people and the craziest people. Oh yeah.
I bet.
Oh yeah, because you have to tell stories and talk, and like, so you learn about people. It's like actual real life stuff,
And it was specifically Toastmasters though that you did.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I was in I was taking an Uber somewhere. I was on a job when I used to. So I used to install the key, the key card readers
Right. Yeah.
for
I
hotel.
remember you saying that.
So I was on
What
one
a
of those
cool,
jobs.
unique job, right?
Oh, it was a trip. It was really, when it was good, it was really good.
It was either like it works or this is going to be like an 8-hour, $1 million expense because it's not working.
Oh, yeah.
Right. There's nothing in between.
And just you deal with people who are desperate for the thing that you're doing to work perfectly. So if it doesn't, you're just getting hammered by these people. If you ever want to meet someone that will make you feel like you're a subhuman, just do something, install a device that doesn't work, and then talk to a hotel GM, and they'll let you know that you're a worthless human. Yeah.
Jeez.
Like, oh man. But I was taking an Uber or a Lyft somewhere, and I just was talking with the driver, and he's like, you've got a good speaking voice. It's very pleasant. Blah blah blah. You should do Toastmasters, and he's like, they'll teach you how to do that. Like, have you ever done anything like? No, I've never have. That was the first time I'd ever even heard of it. He's like, yeah, that would be great. You'd learn public speaking, and I've been interested in doing it ever since because I'm terrified of public speaking.
I didn't know that. Yeah, dude, I'm so much better. I think I did it for maybe close to a year, maybe 6 to 8 months.
Yeah.
I remember it was like a 7 a.m. Tuesday morning thing. That's just when they did it. And I always left out, and it was always so like enriching and like encouraging.
Yeah.
Because eventually you have to do your own like actual like speech. And I was terrified, like in front of strangers. Or I think at that point I started, I knew who they were, but still. But it's like,
It's almost worse if you know who they are because you've developed a rapport, and now you're like,
yeah, right.
Now I care. I'm invested in you. I'm going to get up and talk.
Yeah, these strangers
and now
are
you're going to know
me.
that I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
Right. You thought I was a normal person. Now you're going to get to hear me stand up here and stutter and stammer, and you're going to know that you were talking to a moron the entire time. I had this conversation. I was at a friend's birthday party, and we're doing the whole affirmation station thing. Everyone's saying something really nice about these people, whatever. It was a double birthday, actually. I was like, yeah, I'm going to try to say this. I'm really.
So like you got to get in front of everybody.
Well, I mean, you're just sitting where you are, but
right.
you can stand up or whatever. But like, yeah, we're just going to say something nice. And before I said anything, I was like, just so you know, if I come out sounding like a dummy, I have a very hard time talking in front of groups. And they're like, oh, it's okay, we love you. But I was like, yeah, that actually doesn't help at all. Like, because like you're invested in me. I don't want you to regret your investment after I'm done talking. Like, wow, man. I let this guy in my house. I gave him some delicious food, and he sucks.
He just sucked.
Yeah.
I couldn't even talk.
Yeah, man. Wow, I'm regretting our friendship. That's like, I think that's the level that a lot of people get to. You don't understand.
Yeah.
When we're afraid of talking in front of people. It's
I'll look into it. We should. That'd be a cool.
And it's only going to help this. It's going to make it better.
It helps anything. Confidence. It'll help a lot of things in your life. Like
I bet it would
leadership
help my
qualities.
Too.
Yeah, everything. It just gives you confidence.
Because do you believe that you kind of play how you talk? I think it's.
Do you think that?
I do.
That makes sense. I mean, you're portraying your personality on this instrument.
Right. It's just another language.
So right, like if someone's really obnoxious and loud as a person, they're probably not going to play super quiet, like
they're going to get up
jazz,
You ever set your drums up at just really anywhere, any kind of show, and have somebody just walk up and go, "Can I play your drums, bro?" Like, you think that guy's going to sit down? They're going to sit down and
lay down
total
a nice
nonsense.
Yeah, a nice samba groove.
Like, oh, dude, if I see bro, can I just sit down for a second?
Like, wow, that was
a really nice bossa.
Yeah, that's very misleading.
Not expecting. In fact, that's a skit. I'm doing that.
Yeah,
I'm doing that.
Yeah, that's a skit. Write that down.
Oh, dude.
What's that SNL?
I literally am writing it down, people.
Yeah.
Bossa, drunk, skit.
We'll remember what that is.
Oh yeah, we will.
But
we got some good notes in here.
There's something I was thinking. Yeah, so when we were talking about, I liked what you said about like knowing all these different skills and trades, right? But you don't have to necessarily go so deep into it, but just know enough.
Yeah.
And it's funny you said that because like I remember when I was doing the video stuff. So me and Caleb eventually started like our own video production company as teenagers. I was kind of helping out as like we always equated, because we love Apple, so we always equated it to like he was the Steve Jobs, like the visionary, and I was the Wozniak doing all the bullshit, all the actual hard work, you know?
Yeah.
Like the technician.
You're making the crazy dreams that this person has into a reality.
But it was great. Like he would send us. We went on a business trip, expenses paid trip to London in like high school, and we were filming like these. It was like in the podiatry industry, and like it was just pretty wild stuff that we were doing. But anyway, so eventually he wanted, like, we were doing the business, and he saw like he wanted me to go deeper with video, and like he wanted me to do like animation, very expert stuff, and I was just like, nope. Like this is my limit. Like I mean, I maybe considered it, like I would watch tutorials, but like I knew, no, like I'm not going to invest my time in that, because I'm not going to be a videographer from like my full-time career. I love doing stuff on the side, but like at that point, just hire somebody else. Like you have to know when you're like, it would have been a disservice for me to half-assed learn it and then give a product that's not as good, you know?
Yeah.
But I think that applies for a lot of areas, you know, like people, like you're doing a disservice if you're not fully invested in something, or if you're not skilled at it. You need to know when to just branch out to other people.
Yes.
Like, know what they're good at. Know your own limits.
It's good to know in what areas you're going to need to relegate some responsibility to another person, and like that's what it's
delegate. That was the word I was thinking of. Just and that's what makes a good company. Like you have people that are specialists in their areas, and not one person trying to do everything. That's not going to work.
Yeah. So let me just ask you some quick, very drummy. What'd you call them last time?
Like, did I have a name for it? It was just, I don't know, hot take or double time or
something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Radamacus or pataflaflas?
Radamacus.
Okay. Flam tap or flam drag? Wait, why?
That's not fair. I mean, that was just a very quick, impulsive answer.
Okay. Yeah,
so
that's
Radamacus, just, I always remember like learning that. It was like patafly. I think I played that rudiment more. So
yeah.
What's that one? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. You don't play that really a lot in a real setting.
Yeah.
But like,
maybe we should though.
That could easily be anything. Maybe we should. So that guy that you ever seen, he just holds up the signs like that could have been an email, or like those kind of things.
No.
You ever seen that guy?
That could have been an email.
Like he just has all these like one-worded funny statements that resonate with people. He just, you know, it could be us trying to make the case for pedophiles. Good luck trying to.
Okay, so 17-stroke roll or Shirley Murphy?
What's Shirley Murphy?
I don't even remember.
Oh, see, this is bad. I should know this.
I just want to pull some random hybrid.
Well, see, in New York, I think most states have this, maybe not, but like I had, it was called NYSSMA. It was like, you know, the New York State School Music Association. And we would, you know, you have to learn your solos and your rudiments and play it in front of a judge. And he would grade you. You'd get your... So I had to learn all those rudiments, but I don't remember that one.
NYSSMA, though. What's
NYSSMA? I just told you the abbreviation.
That's what that is? I thought, you're like, I had to do this thing.
Yeah, it was just, I mean, and eventually they were like, you would do, I remember going to other high schools, and they were like,
wait,
concerts,
so that's the abbreviation.
I'm
seeing it in my head.
That was the abbreviation, yeah.
Okay.
New York's, sorry, I talk fast. New York State School Music Association.
Oh, okay.
Right?
I thought you're like, well, the New York State School Music Association, we had this thing called, I'm like waiting for it. Like, so what is it?
Oh, yeah.
Sorry. And I also pictured it as being NIZZMA.
No, that's a Z.
Yeah.
No. Okay, so yeah.
That's my fault for being a presumptuous idiot.
Yeah,
so,
moron.
Yeah, see, this is what I'm saying. If I talk too long, everyone's going to know I'm dumb. Okay, so since being in Nashville, there was a whole point that I was trying to make about the drum set being the centerpiece of this room here. So what is your musical goal for like next 5 years, 10 years, whatever it is? You're living in Nashville, you're working for Pearl, but there's a reason why you're like Dan the drummer. You're like, I want to know about your drum life, the future of you playing this instrument in town. What do you think that looks like for you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to figure it out, like we all are, and I'm really enjoying that journey. I mean, the main reason I had this room is to be able to continue to create that content, the same content that I was doing with Rock Band and then eventually in college. So like, I've always found a way to do that, no matter where I've lived, wherever city I'm in, wherever capacity of equipment. Like, I've always been able to do what I love, which is just the coolest thing, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to, I think, like, to answer your question, I'm trying to be more of a session player. I want to be known as like a top-notch studio drummer.
Yeah.
I did a lot of recording in college for just like student projects, like things that probably didn't really go anywhere, but I was like I was the first call guy. Like, I was doing we'd stay up till 2 a.m. just recording like albums of music. It was crazy.
Yeah. And
I loved it. And it was just, I love being able to create something out of nothing. I think that's the coolest thing. And then, unlike this podcast, to just like record a moment in time, like how special that is, you know?
Yeah.
So I love recording drums for that reason. I've been gigging a lot as well, just playing that live.
Yeah, who are you playing with now?
Well, I'm kind of doing the freelance thing. I'm not like in a band. I just play with Dorian Lackey. He's a R&B, really, really good R&B vocalist.
And you did that last night, right?
I was at, Alley Taps. I've been playing with him. We've been doing some more full band stuff. I was playing with this guy, Tim Miles, a Belmont grad, for a while.
You got to tell me the next time you're playing out, man. I really want to come watch you play a show.
You haven't really seen me play, have you?
No, I haven't. I've just seen you play.
Just like, is he actually a drummer, or is he just post pictures?
I've seen you play plenty, but just not at a show.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, I come in this room and accost him all the time, and I'm like, hey, well, you ever mess with doing this?
Like, Nate, go away and try to practice.
He'll tell me he's working on some song. I'm like, that's great, but what about this?
Try this in 13 and then do it with your left hand. I'm like, now I can't not do it because I want to do it. Like,
I'm sorry, I'm distracting you from your truest purpose.
No, it's okay.
Don't allow me to do that.
But I love doing a lot of different things, you know?
Yeah.
Like, so I said, like, okay, I want to be the studio session guy, but that doesn't mean that's all I want to do. Like, I love playing live. Nothing replaces that.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how many people are there or the venue. Like, it's just that feeling of just playing the instrument with a group. It's just
nothing quite like it.
You know it.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
And you're right. There's nothing as fun as being in the studio can be. And like you said, you're kind of part of creating something out of nothing. There's something beautiful and obviously very artistic about that. But nothing will ever substitute the feeling of getting in front of some other people and just putting music out there into the air in a way that's impermanent.
Yeah, it's raw. If you make a mistake, that's part of the moment.
Right.
And you laugh with your bandmates and you just go on. In the studio, just Control Z, do it again.
Yeah.
You know?
Quantize.
Like, yeah.
Like, oh,
right.
No. Oh, dude.
So,
this has been great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is a good combo.
I think so too.
Yeah. I feel like
You had no idea about my Rock Band past.
This is like I feel like,
which is weird because I was never a big like video gamer. I'm not anymore. Like, but it was only music. I never did like Call of Duty or like, so I wasn't like a hardcore gamer that did Rock Band. It was like, no, I was a musician that found the musical outlet in that one game, you know.
Wow.
And I was good at.
I'm gonna go and look at all of those videos.
Oh, that's hilarious. I was good at guitar too. Not even just, I was doing guitar here. I was not the same level.
Can you play any guitar and
no? See, that didn't translate. No, that doesn't translate. But the
Okay.
drums did because it's literally just rhythms. It's not. And some of these drum sets. My buddy Caleb again had this custom. He bought like this custom drum set for the game that like had cymbals and like. Eventually, I got my own custom drum set, which sort of helped. There was no cheating or anything, but like I had the rebound. Because to be able to get 100% on these songs, you need sensitive pads. And like the stock, what Rock Band Harmonix, the company behind those games, what shipped with those products was crappy pads, you know?
Right.
So it was it didn't matter how good you were, like the notes would drop or it wouldn't recognize a hit. So I bought this drum set called the Goodwood Mods. Yeah, and it was like literally like mesh, so it was super sensitive. Yeah.
This is just a whole, like I said before, man, it's a whole world that I had no idea that existed.
Yeah.
And now you brought me in.
What are you doing the rest of the day?
I'm going to go to the room and see if it's available first of all.
I should practice, but I just don't want to. See that, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Like, that's my passion.
Yeah.
I'm very lucky that I'm able to do that. But I love having that balance. Like, there's plenty of days where I don't, like, I went here to drop off my rent check, and I came in, I sat down, so I'm not going to not sit down and do something. But then I didn't want to play. I just didn't feel it. I was like, you know what? I want to do something else. I'm going to go home, and I'm also doing...
Go home and not play Call of Duty.
Well, I don't think this came up, but I also help people build websites on the side. I'm working this crazy project now, the most intense one I've ever done. This guy, shout out to my friend Peter Venuto. He has this really cool synth business. He's out in Canada. It's called Synth Palace, and he has like probably one of the world's biggest collections of old, vintage, and new like synthesizers.
Really?
And like drum machine, and like all these crazy instruments, electronic instruments. But he doesn't really have a good website, so he needs an e-commerce solution for all of that, and it's not a simple like click, buy now. It's very complex, and there's a lot of different stuff, so I'm helping him. So that's been taking up a lot of my time, but that's okay. Like I'm not upset by that. Like it's not like I don't view that as like, oh, I should be practicing. Like no, that's just it's good to be able to step away from the instrument or anything that you're really passionate about. Step away from it will make you appreciate it more and have a better, clearer mind to do that thing. Like you were saying, like to practice and then immediately like go to sleep for like an hour, right?
Yeah.
And, like it's the same idea.
Yeah, being able to, it's like I've heard it likened to like you either want to be boiling or have the heat completely off. Like you don't need to, don't simmer. You know, don't be don't be a 6. Don't get so it's just the water's warm. Like you want it off, not wasting your energy, or just like crank it all the way on. And I think that's a good way to approach it. It's a good way to live your life, honestly. Simmering is not good. Simmering isn't productive and it's not restful. It's this like in between. You're just like wasting energy. You're not getting a lot done.
Right.
You're not getting any rest from it. Like turn your brain off or turn it all the way on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Current favorite player.
Current. Okay. Probably a few.
Yeah, give me like 3.
Well, so okay, I mentioned Todd Circumman
Okay.
as more of like a long-term idol, and I saw him present at PASIC. He's just any like drummer that can still play like that at his age is just mind-boggling, you know.
Yeah.
So Todd Circumman, Richard Spavin.
I love.
Yeah,
Spavin.
that kind of playing I'm really, really into. Because I've always been a very technical drummer. I used to be in a Zappa tribute band, and like I'm not like a powerhouse kind of guy. I'm more intricate with my playing. So yeah, I'd say Spavin, and I really like Joost Nickel.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna add, Annika Niles, of course.
Sorry, the cutoff was 3. You can't say 4.
Okay, well I'm gonna put her in place.
Not only are we not gonna put that in the podcast,
she studied with,
this is no longer your
she
podcast.
Studied, jeez, I just lost a lot right there.
That was it. You broke the rules.
I don't
make the rules.
Okay,
I just enforce them.
I'm actually trying to talk. I'm trying to like explain myself. She studied with him. If you may have known that.
With Joost?
Yeah, like she's a student of his.
I did not know that.
But I'm gonna choose her. I met her when I was an intern at PAS. She did a clinic in 2015, I want to say.
Wow, I had no clue. That's awesome.
She's unbelievable. Yeah.
She is. Okay. Winter or summer?
Summer.
Why?
Well, I grew up in New York, so it was winter. It was snow. So. Wait, what? What just happened? Are you okay? Are you all right?
That was a sneeze.
Oh, okay.
That died. I went to stop it from happening.
Yeah. Oh.
And then it died in my shirt.
I hate when that happens.
Oh, that's the
very
worst.
sad. Yeah, I thought like you saw something or like there was a bug on the microphone or like I answered the wrong way.
Whoa. I am so sorry about that. That was wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, summer. We're in Nashville. Summer.
Okay. I'm not going to argue with you. It's your right to like whatever crappy season you
What
like.
do you like? Whoa, don't judge. You prefer winter?
I think I like winter better, yeah.
See, is that because you're used to California and now Nashville?
Yeah, well, because, California is like, where I lived would be like 110, 115 in the summers. So
that's brutal.
Yeah, and so I
can't
like,
do that.
Just get me out of hell, and I can put on as many layers as I have to.
Yeah. But I will say, there's something very, just like emotionally, like the seasons changing, especially like winter and snowfall and watching a movie and it's just terrible outside, but you're cozy on the inside. Right. There's something nice about that. And then you have an appreciation for when it is nice out.
Agreed.
If it's always nice out, then it's like, you're just used to it.
Yeah.
And you get bitter when it's like the one day here when it's like 67. Yes. I did that the other day. I was like, it's so cold.
And honestly, the summers here are not as bad as they are purported to be.
It gets hot, but I don't think that hot. Not like Arizona.
I actually enjoy them.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Dan, this has been a great time. Yeah, thanks for doing this today. This is awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
I love you, man.
Forget it.
Let's do it. Brothers gotta hug.
All right. Hey, everyone. This is Dan. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed that episode. Just want to say a quick thank you and appreciation for everyone that has given us a lot of really good feedback on this new podcast. Maybe you've shared this podcast with a friend or given us a follow on Instagram. Really do appreciate the support so far. If this is your first time listening, definitely check out episode 1 where I interview Nathan. So episode 1 and episode 2 were really just to get to know myself and Nate as the host of this project. We are really looking forward to episode 3 and beyond, and that's where we're going to begin to interview our special guests. Now, if you're interested in becoming a guest on this podcast, you can send us a direct message on Instagram, send us an email at nashvilledrummerspodcast@gmail.com, or just send a message to myself or Nate, and we'll get right back to you. Again, thank you so much for all the support, and we'll see you in episode 3.